Hello, and welcome to week 2 of our video course series titled Life is a Dream. In week 1, I described the philosophical underpinnings for why it's difficult and perhaps impossible to distinguish life from a dream. And as a reminder, I asked you to keep a dream journal in the intervening period between week 1 and this video. And if you've done that, you should already have more familiarity with your subconscious than you did prior to beginning this video series. Even keeping a dream journal for a short time will begin to show you themes in your subconscious life, fears, desires you may have. And through the techniques in this video, you might begin to use these to either change or more greatly accept aspects of your life, aspects of the script, the story into which you've been born. And we'll talk about both of those possibilities. So in this video, the main content is going to be a pair of dream powers we may have once we have accepted that the life we are in is but a dream. The first of these dream powers is commonly known as manifestation. This is the technique of using first-person visualization to create or render in our lives the kind of experience we want to have. So in modern parlance, this is a very individualistic enterprise. You may have heard of this in terms of manifesting material abundance for myself, manifesting love. However, it's also a very old technology, much older than that, when used for the benefit of the collective. So you may have heard of Native American rain dances. There were many ancient cultures who had prayers and rituals around inviting in an abundant harvest for the coming season. These sorts of prayers for the collective as well are a form of visualization, a form of manifestation we can entertain. And once we've accepted the premise that the reality we are in is a sort of hypnosis, hallucination, or collective dream, these sorts of manifestation, visualizations, become akin to lucid dreaming. They're no different from how in a dream you might consciously make appear things you want to see, experiences you want to have. The second technique, the second dream power, is really the opposite end of the spectrum. If manifestation sees us actualizing things in our lives, becoming active participants in our lives, and creating the kinds of experiences we want to have, this second technique is what I would call an embrace of nihilism, or an embrace of pointlessness. Recognizing that we are dream beings in a larger being's dream, that we are characters in a larger being's dream, we know that there is literally no error we can make in life. This is something I talk about at length in my first video on this channel, which is called Peace, Love, and the Purpose of Existence. Once we recognize that there is a universal consciousness at back of all the experiences we are having, we know that neither can we succeed in life, nor can we fail. There is no goal to achieve, there is no problem to solve. Paradoxically, this realization tends to make us more happy because we are no longer placing pressure upon ourselves to do, be, or feel anything. In this state, which is also reachable through the awareness that life is a dream, we know that if I am happy, that is for the purpose of generating happiness for this larger dream being that is experiencing existence through me. If I am suffering, if I am in a state of anger, detachment, depression, boredom, that is for the purpose of generating that experience for this larger dream being. And A more acute through line or parallel we can draw here is that in the same way as our dreams literally serve to awaken us, I have a nightmare which scares me, and then upon its cessation, I awake in my bed. Our purpose here as beings may be to awaken the larger being, the larger consciousness, which has dreamed us into existence. A different and more concise way of putting this is that there is nothing we need to do in order to achieve our purpose. Merely by existing, it is already done. The closing of this video will be offering a pair of techniques or practices we might undertake to activate each of these dream powers, these skills. And again, the first is manifestation, this kind of active orientation toward our life in which we become the lucid dreamer, the creator of our lives. And the second is more of a detachment and an ease that comes from recognizing that a larger being is dreaming us. Before going on and laying out these two techniques that I offer to you to try out, I want first to say that neither of these orientations is better, nor worse, nor higher, nor lower than the other. There are times in our lives where we want to take an active orientation and we want to become the dreamer and manifest things. And there are times in our lives where we want to be more at ease and we want to allow some greater consciousness to dream itself through us. In general, I think that these orientations exist in a sort of relationship and that we tend to pass through them in phases in our lives. So the first technique or practice, and this is for manifestation, is known as affirmations. So what I invite you to do is try for 1 week, every morning or every evening, whenever you prefer to journal, write down in your journal first-person present tense statements about things you want to manifest or actualize in your life. So for instance, you can write, I am wealthy. You can write, I am enough. These can be internal descriptions rather than external also. You can write, I am loved, or I am in a loving partnership. Any of these sorts of statements will help to generate the atmosphere, the energy that will invite in the corresponding experience. And there's a reason we use the present tense and first person, which is that these forms of writing make the visualization immediate, acting as though these are things that you already have or already are, will make them much more likely to manifest than if you express them as mere desires, which actually is a form of blockage. Saying, I want something, simultaneously expresses, I do not have it. It is as yet distant from me. So the encouragement is to write these statements for 1 week in the first person and present tense. As alluded to earlier in the video, another option is to write collective statements, or you can also simply visualize things in your internal domain through meditation or prayer. So as some examples of collective statements, you might write, we as humanity are coming together. You might write, we as a world are living more peaceably and justly. Or even something more abstract like the earth is healing. If this is internal through meditation or prayer, you might simply visualize what you want to see, really with intention, really with your heart. As mentioned earlier in the example of a Native American rain dance. And rain is something we have been needing recently, so that might be a good object around which to center your prayer. So whether visualizing things for oneself personally or for the collective, The invitation is to try out these journaling, meditation, or prayer exercises for 1 week and then honestly assess, am I feeling better? Are the things that I am attempting to manifest seeming to appear? And after this assessment, you may decide to continue, you may decide to stop, you may decide to change tactics. The second exercise has to do with inviting in this orientation of easefulness or acceptance, which is a sort of spiritual detachment from life. It is the knowing that no matter what the content is in life, no matter what happens, I am serving my purpose, which is to be here, to be a vessel of experience. One way to do this is to name the content of experience internally, divorcing it from any specificity that relates to a person or a story we might have. So I'll give an example and I'll tell you why this works to usher in this deeper, more relaxed awareness. So let's say I'm in conversation with someone and that person seems very anxious or is expressing anger toward me. Something I might think internally is, wow, this person is really angry, or wow, this person is really anxious. This thought does describe an accurate reality. However, something it also does is creates a distinction, a separation between me and this other person. I become attached to the contrastive experience through my judgment. So if the other person is anxious and I name that, I am necessarily thinking about myself, I am calm. If they are angry, I'm necessarily thinking about myself. Again, perhaps I am calm or I am more rational or something like that. Whether or not I state it, I am becoming attached to a separate reality, a contrastive reality with respect to this other person. A different way of approaching this experience internally is simply to name to myself anxiety, anger, as it comes up. What this does is invites me into my heart and helps me to recognize that the same feeling that I identify in the other person is passing through me. We can get very philosophical about why this is. We can talk about how even the identification of the other person's anger or anxiety exists only in my mind, and therefore the experience with which I would label them is actually a part of me. We can go down detours and rabbit holes like that. But my preference for this video is simply to recognize that naming the experience in abstract terms recenters me in my awareness and aligns me with my purpose of being a holder, a container of experience. When I meet the other person feeling anxiety and I say to myself, anxiety, I let go of any judgment about who is experiencing it, whether anyone is better than anyone else, or whether the experience itself is good or bad, and I simply recognize and honor the experience. Paradoxically, this allows emotions to pass more quickly. The more I let go of judgment around any emotion, the more I become like a fluid channel for it, and the more smoothly it works through my system. But regardless of that, the real purpose of this naming technique is simply to remind ourselves that our purpose in this realm is to have experience, and that regardless of the content of that experience, we are fulfilling our purpose. So the invitation is, for 1 week, as you go about your day, try to recognize when you are judging either your own emotions or the emotions of others, and instead simply name them to yourself. Internally, simply say, anxiety, anger, sadness. Watch what happens. My promise to you is that you will notice greater fluidity and greater ease in your life, even after doing this for only 1 week. So that concludes this video, which is a short one, and the end of this series on the concept of dreaming and reality and what we might gain the power to do within this reality after having inquired more deeply into its nature. My hope for you, having given you these two separate techniques, manifestation on the one hand and relaxation or acceptance on the other, my hope for you is that you are able to use both of these using both of them interchangeably to create the life that you want, manifesting, visualizing, actualizing when that seems appropriate and necessary, and accepting, relinquishing judgment, falling into easefulness when that feels more useful. If you have results from either of these exercises that you would like to share with me, you can find my contact info through my website, or you may or you may message me here on YouTube as well. Additionally, if you feel that the content of this series was useful to you and you would like to send me a donation, you may do that through my website as well, and there is a link provided in the video description. So thank you very much for attending, and I hope that the awareness gained throughout these videos is fruitful for you in the long run. Goodbye.